Hey, so my next guest is from Gilroy, California. She is a yoga practitioner, a purple belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and she's coming off a win against Angela Samaro by a rear naked choke this past August. She'll be stepping back into the cage at Invicta 33 to face Jamie Moyle. Welcome to the Evolve WMMA podcast featuring women who go against conventional thinking to pursue their dreams. These fighters inspire, empower, and unleash excellence within a new generation of female warriors as they rise and evolve into the best possible versions of themselves through the power of mixed martial arts. Hey, 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 this is Evolve WMMA, and I'm your host, Shelly Devine. And I'd like to welcome to the show, Brianna, the Bull Van Buran. Hi, Brianna. Welcome to the show.
Hello. Thanks for having me.
Oh, I'm excited to have you. I've had so many people so far from Invicta 33, actually even from Invicta in general. Been interviewing quite a few of you wonderful athletes who are so kind to come on while you're training and doing many, many other things, I'm sure. So I really don't know too much about you, and I'm sure some people do, some people don't, but can you give us a little background on yourself and how you got involved in MMA?
Yeah, so basically, my name is Brianna. My nickname is the Bull. I got my nickname from my grandfather when I was a little girl. He used to call me El Torito, which means the baby bull in Spanish. So that's how I got my nickname. I train under Anthony Figueroa, which is also a father figure to me and my uncle. And so how I got started was through Anthony Figueroa. I started training at a very young age. I was introduced to mixed martial arts at the age of, I want to say 13, 14.
Wow.
And yeah, and so I came from playing soccer. I used to play soccer, and then my uncle had a gym in his garage at his house, and basically he would go and train for fights and whatnot, because he at the time was an active professional MMA fighter as well. And I've always thought it was like kind of cool to just, get involved. And I had my thing was, I also at the time I was interested in Layla Ali, which is a professional boxer. Mm-hmm. And so while my uncle was doing MMA, I was thinking to myself, well, I want to become a professional boxer. One day I want to fight Layla Ali. Like, this is what I want to do. Like, you can train me to become a professional boxer. And he was just like, what? Just this little girl, basically just coming up with what are you talking about? You're talking nonsense, Yeah. So then anyhow, I decided to train kickboxing for fitness. And then ever since then, I can say I fell in love with kickboxing and MMA and whatnot. And then it kind of grew on to me. So that's how I started.
Wow. So it was in your blood.
It was definitely in my blood. My grandfather was also boxing Golden Gloves champion, and then Anthony is also a Golden Gloves boxing champion as well, and he holds some other belts in kickboxing and mm-hmm. Muay Thai and whatnot, and along with it's basically in my blood.
Yeah. Did you have like a sensation in you where it really dawned on you, like, oh my gosh, even as a young girl, that I really have to do this, as opposed to playing soccer?
Not necessarily. It wasn't like, as far as like, oh my gosh, I really have to do this or anything like that. I kind of just like went with the flow. Like, I don't even think at the time, like me wanting to do boxing or kickboxing or, you know, whatever my uncle was doing. It wasn't even like, I didn't really take it like as like, I need to do this. I have to do this because my family is doing it. It was more so like, I just want to do whatever my Theo aunt is doing pretty much at the time because I thought it was cool, you know, so that's how it started.
Did you used to watch any of the fights on TV or any boxing on TV, like any of the big names, any of the big boxers and stuff as a young girl? I remember doing it. I remember watching Muhammad Ali on my dad's lap when I was little.
Yeah. So honestly, I never really got into boxing as far as like, I remember my uncle taking me to a couple of like local gyms in Gilroy, where I was born and raised, as far as like, okay, you want to box? Like, let's go over here and like, let's work some boxing techniques, or let's, you know, I'll help you out with some boxing techniques in the garage and stuff like that. But as far as like watching professional boxers, I mean, big names, maybe like Oscar De La Hoya every now and then, Muhammad Ali, like you said. I would look up like YouTube videos and whatnot, but I was still watching videos of like kickboxers, MMA fighters, I would say, not so much of kickboxers, because that's what Anthony was doing. So when he fought for Strikeforce, so I would, you know, watch him fight live. I would watch like his, you know, his teammates fight live, and, you know, Kung Lee and, you know, all these other professional mixed martial artists at the time. But I wasn't even interested in like fighting when I was training. I was just kind of like, I wanted to do it, but I was just like, sounds cool, right?
Right, yeah.
But never really. So yeah.
So when you were watching like even Strikeforce, when the women started up on Strikeforce, you know, seeing like Misha Tate or Chris Cyborg or any of the other women that had, you know, in the earlier days, I mean, did that inspire you as well when you saw that?
100%. So I would say at the time, Chris Cyborg was very, like, she was big to me. And I think at the time, nobody really like knew her. Until I think after when she fought Gina Carano, I think that's when she became like this like huge, like, oh my gosh, she stopped. I think Gina Carano was undefeated. I could be wrong, but anyhow, Chris Cyborg was like, I was like all about Chris Cyborg. I was all about Miriam Nakamoto. I was all about Kevin Ross. What are the other ones? Even like the people that, even like my uncle, I was like super big like on him. I thought he was like the superstar, right? Because I was like, I want to do the same thing that he's doing. So I remember getting tickets to actually go and see Chris Cyborg and Gina Carano fight. And the day before they fought, I went to weigh-ins, and I went and I have a picture. I'll have to bring that picture up, but maybe I'll throw it on my Instagram or my Facebook, so that way you can take a look at it. That would be great. I have a picture of actually meeting Chris Cyborg the day before, the day of weigh-ins when she fought Gina Carano. I was in the back room, and I think I got in through the back room from Anthony. I'm pretty sure it was from my uncle. And it was mind blowing. Like, I was like, oh my gosh, this is so cool. Like, you know, I was like a kid in a candy store, just seeing all of these professional fighters, you know. So it was awesome. It was cool.
Yeah, that's a great story. That's awesome that you were able to get snuck in too, because I can remember it's a lot harder now to get behind the scenes with the fighters unless you have some credentials or something like that, because I know back in the day I could get in a little bit easier. I could even get in the ring, you know, locally stuff. And now it's even just with the local stuff. So, you know, with all the commissions and everything. So you were very lucky to be able to do that. That sounds like a fun gig. at
Yeah,
30.
it was awesome.
So yeah, even, did
Yeah.
you, how did your folks feel about all this?
So I lived, Anthony took me in at the age of, I want to say 13. It could be a little younger, maybe 12 turning 13. I'm not too sure. I can't remember, but Anthony took me in at a very young age. And Anthony is basically my mother's brother. So he raised me from the age of 12, 13 and till now. Like, so as far as like my mom, how did she feel about it? She was all for it. She was like, chase your dreams, do what you got to do what you want. Like, I'll support you. My actual biological father, I don't even know who or where, what he is. I grew up with knowing that Anthony was basically a father figure to me. So that's like, even now to this day, I'm like, Anthony's like, he's raised me my whole entire life. Even when I lived with my mom, like I've always, Anthony is my godfather, so he was there.
Is your mom still in the picture, or?
Yeah, my mother's still in the picture. My mom currently lives about 2 hours away from me, but I talk to her every single day. We talk, we text, and she actually just called me right before I got on the phone with you to see how I was doing and whatnot. But yeah.
So if you don't mind me asking, how did that work into your life, where your mom decided to let you stay with your uncle?
Yeah. So basically, at a very young age, I had some problems living with my mother, and so we had came to an agreement where I was able to live with Anthony, and Anthony took me in. And I'm actually going to be writing a book very soon on my personal life. So once that book gets published and released and whatnot, then you'll be able to learn more about who or exactly what I am and what exactly happened. So stay tuned for that.
Okay, so that sounds great. I know 13 can be a tumultuous time for a young woman. So,
right.
And the mother and daughter relationship. I have a daughter, and we went head to head, toe to toe at times when she was younger. So it was definitely challenging. And I know even with my mom being the oldest, I did have a younger sister, but I had to break through barriers with my mom as a young girl. So there is something that happens between moms and daughters that I'm not sure what happens with guys. There's a different transition there. With women, it's a little more adversarial, like.
Yep.
Yeah.
I totally get it. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm suspecting that's what maybe your book will be a little bit about.
Yep. I guess you'll have to stay tuned and continue to follow me until you see like when my release date is on that book. But for sure, you'll definitely know some more.
Well, I'd love to get it, and I'd love to do an interview with you once it's out and published and everything too. So we'll just put that you're invited back on the show once it's published. And I love the idea of women actually in MMA publishing books and stuff, and letting people learn about their lives and the challenges that they face as young women, and to get into the sport and why they did and all that. I think it's amazing. It's very empowering for other girls coming up. So that's cool. I love that.
Right.
That's great. So you have this big fight coming up, and you're actually coming off of a win. You had a fight in August, right? I
actually had a fight on my birthday in August. Yeah.
Oh.
It was on my birthday.
Yeah, and you submitted the girl rear naked choke.
Angela Samaro.
Yeah.
That fight was at 125. We weighed in at 125 pounds. Yeah, so it was a little bit heavier than what I normally fight at, but
Are you comfortable
I
at
went
a
in.
comfortable at a heavier weight, or?
I'm comfortable. I feel better at strawweight. We'll just say that. But I wouldn't say if I had to pick 125 or 115, I would definitely stay at 115.
Yeah, cool. And so you got a fight in, it's about a week away, and you're facing Jamie Moyle, and you both have very similar records. She's 4-3, you're 4-2. Is that correct? Because sometimes I wonder if they have the right stats online.
Yeah, I'm 4-2. I'm pretty sure she's 4-3 as well.
Yeah. How do you think you match up?
4-2.
How do you think you match
I'm
up
sorry?
with her? How do you think you match up with her?
I think it's going to be a great fight. I really do think it's going to be a really good fight. I think as far as like the record wise and whatnot, I think it's really good. 4-3 and 4-2. I feel like that's pretty, we're right there. They couldn't really find anyone for me that was like, that had anything similar. There's nothing, I feel like there's nothing better than this specific matchup for me specifically. So I think it's going to be a good fight.
Yeah. So you're a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu purple belt.
Actually, I just got my brown belt.
Woo! Congratulations.
Yeah.
That's huge.
Yeah, I just got my brown belt a few weeks ago from Anthony Figueroa and Leandro Vieira. So I am officially a brown belt now.
Did you know when they were going to do it? Like, did you know ahead of time, or did they just surprise you kind of with it and put you through a little test of some kind?
Yeah. So basically how it happened was I was at wrestling practice and my uncle tells me, hey, we're going to give Anthony Deek his brown belt. And Anthony Deek is basically he's one of my teammates as well. And he's like, we're going to give Anthony Deek his brown belt today. Are you going to be show up to jiu-jitsu? And so I'm like, okay, cool. Like, had no idea.
Yeah.
Walked in and I saw like some faces that I normally see in the morning class that I don't see in the evening. So I was just kind of like, oh, okay. Like, cool. Like we have a good group here. Like everybody's here to support Deke. Like this is awesome. And then, like towards the middle of class, anyhow, he calls up, Anthony Deke, the guy who he told me who was going to get his brown belt. And then, he called me up, and then I noticed that other people were getting stripes. So I still had no idea that I was getting a brown belt when he called me up.
Right.
And it was so funny because Leandro had tape, like he had white tape, like he was putting stripes on my belt. And I'm like, wow, okay, like cool, this is awesome. And then there was another guy, Mark Heinzer, also he was there, and he was like, I don't think she's ready for toe holds yet, or, just joking and whatnot. And my uncle grabs the brown belt, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like, obviously super excited about it. But I had no idea that I was getting the brown belt that day.
Congratulations.
Yeah. So.
That's a huge accomplishment. That really is. That's a lot of years of training. Really.
Yeah, I'm actually really excited to, like, even after this fight, just to go and compete, like, obviously in a brown belt division, because everything's going to be new to me, right? It's like a new world, basically, right? So I'm excited for that as well.
Oh, that's awesome. Could you share a personal habit or a daily routine that contributes to your success in achieving, like, your brown belt or being in, fighting for Invicta?
I'm sorry, you cut out on me. Can you say that again? I'm sorry.
Yeah, sure, that's okay. Could you share a personal habit or daily routine that contributes to your success, like getting your brown belt or performing on, getting into Invicta?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would say would probably be like me waking up every day. I have a bean bag. I would totally show you, but it's upstairs. I have like this huge beanbag that I lay on. I wake up every morning, write down my goals, and basically go over what my day is going to look like. And, you know, just I try to map out my goals as much as I could.
Speaking of goals, what are your goals for the next 3 years, personal or business wise?
Yeah. So personal goals, business wise, pretty much same thing. This is a lifestyle for me, right? So basically I would say my next couple of goals in the next 3 years is to try to become the Invicta Strawweight champion. That's on my list, and to become the UFC Strawweight champion. And then in between, work on becoming a no-gi brown belt world champion, and then also a gi brown belt champion as well. And then just becoming a better person every day and striving to be, you know, the best version of myself that I can be. And I think with me having those set goals, I'm going to become a champion in life. So business and personal, there you go.
Awesome. So, I mean, your last Invicta fight was it 2 fights ago? And you had a loss.
Yeah, that was, I would say, about 2.5, maybe 3 years ago.
Okay, yeah. So you're coming back to Invicta again, like this is your most recent upcoming fight. Do you feel like you got something to prove now because you had the loss before? I know you've had some wins since then, but stepping back into the Invicta cage.
Yeah, I wouldn't necessarily say I feel like I need to prove anything. The only thing that I can do is become a better version of myself. So me going in there to try to say, oh, I need to prove something to you know, the people watching, no, that's going to apply pressure on myself, and I'm not willing to do that. But however, I would say I'm coming in with a chip on my shoulder for sure. I'm coming in, this is my 9-to-5 job. So I'm coming in to take what's mine, basically.
Cool.
So,
I like the perspective and the shift in perspective of knowing the difference between like what's going to put additional pressure that might be kind of negative pressure, as opposed to getting like positive kind of like, yeah, I'm going in there and I have a chip on my shoulder, but I'm going to dig it and I'm going to love it and I'm going to be in there and I'm going to kick some ass. Attitude. Yeah, and I like that you know that difference. That's cool. And you pointed it out.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, I feel like you have to be that way, because if I go in there with so much pressure on my shoulders, like, oh, I can't perform the way I did last time, or I can't go in there with, you know what I mean? Well, obviously I can't. So, you know, that I don't want to. So why am I even going to apply that type of pressure on myself? Why am I even going to waste any energy even thinking about it, you know? So you have to be that way for sure.
Cool. Very cool. Can you share a story of a time in your fighting career when you had like an aha moment of realization?
I don't really know. I couldn't really tell you, but I can tell you that, like, let me see. Oh my gosh. I don't really know. I'll get back to you on that.
Okay, that's fine. I think there was a kickboxing, your first kickboxing tournament.
Oh, yes.
You had a moment where you kind of just, this is it, man. I'm doing this. What was that like?
Yep. So my first kickboxing tournament, again, I was 14 years old when I first did my first kickboxing tournament.
So young. Yeah, this is what I'm doing.
I will never forget this. Anthony signed me up for the women's adult division. Oh. And I was like, what? Like, what are you doing? Like, you know, I obviously didn't say that, but in my head, I'm thinking, like, what the heck? Like, you know, adult division, my first kickboxing tournament. What the heck? And so anyhow, after when I won that tournament, I was like, this is what I want to do. This is something that I'm going to stick to, because it was addicting. You know, at the time I was like, this is something I want. So
yeah,
that is definitely a aha for you.
How would you describe the addicting kind of, or was it an obsession or addiction, or how would you describe the feeling of that?
I would say a little bit of both. Honestly, it's more like an adrenaline rush that I get. Like, even after my last fight, I remember texting my manager right away and was like, okay, I'm ready for the next one. And like, everybody around me was like, you're crazy. Like, what the heck? Like, you need to soak this in. Like, what are you doing? And I'm like, no, like, it's definitely an obsession. Like, even with training, like, I enjoy it so much that I'm like, I want it, if that makes sense. I just want it all. Like, so it's definitely an obsession thing, but it's also like, I'm addicted to that feeling. I'm addicted to, like, I can't wait to step back into the inside the Invicta cage, just knowing that feeling that I'm gonna get. Like, I almost crave it in a sense. It's really hard to explain to you, but that's
I get it. I get it. But other people need to hear, like, you know, like if they have other moms or dads here, their daughters wanting to do something like this, and they're like, what? You know?
Yeah.
And then they'll have an understanding of it. I think typically men do. Women might not have an understanding of this type of, you know, for women to do this sort of thing. I think now more or less men do, and women are, you know, catching on a little bit more so.
I think you're right. I think you're definitely right about that, for sure. I think a lot, even now though too, I think since MMA is constantly evolving and like it's becoming, it's still a male dominant sport, but I still feel like since there's so many females who are like, you know, coming up and whatnot, I think even like other people outside of that are now coming to an understanding, like, okay, like I can do it, or, you know, oh, this girl is doing it. It's, you know, it's empowering, and, you know.
Absolutely. I was just talking to a friend of mine, and I was saying, you know, martial arts is really one of the things that had really empowered me as a woman and made me feel a lot more confident, like just even walking down the street, if somebody was, you know, doing something, you know, like just saying something derogatory because you're a woman or whatever, you were like, and you didn't walk around afraid to walk down a street or something like that, which was huge. And I think as young girls, which maybe, I don't know if you've ever experienced this, but when you were like 13 and you're going through the changes of your body and everything, and you're being noticed in a different way, you're like, oh, ooh, it changes you from the earlier years, maybe 1, you know, to 7 or 8, where you're like, you don't have those kind of fears of being a girl. And then all of a sudden the sex thing comes in, and there's a predatory kind of thing that happens, and you always kind of have to be a little bit careful. And you somehow sense that. And I think martial arts, I know it gave me a little bit more confidence. I mean, I was always confident, but it gave me even more confidence than.
And that's another reason why I think why I enjoy it, because I also teach martial arts as well. And I also have my god sister, Alexa, who is very young as well, that, you know, I teach all these little girls, and I want them to be able to feel like, you know, they can do it too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it opens up a door for, like you said, it makes them feel confident. But not only that, they're happy. They're expressing themselves in another outlet. So for sure.
Yeah, they're allowed to really fulfill or their willpower, you know, like and really express their willpower and see it in full bloom, I think. You know, when you're in a cage and you're pummeling somebody, you are full, willful, everything, and you're not holding anything back. And how many other areas in your life can you really do that in?
Right.
And put, you know, your whole heart, and I mean, most often you're in the cage, you're putting your whole heart and soul into that experience. And where else, I mean, where else do you get a chance to do that completely on that? Like, no inhibitions, nothing is holding you back. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah, I find it fascinating. Like, I find that the sport is just so fascinating when you look at the whole gamut of it. So, what has been your greatest challenge dealing with fear, and how have you overcome it?
So greatest challenge of dealing with fear. To be honest with you, I don't really know, like, my greatest challenge in dealing with fear is, like, back, I would say maybe when I was 16, 17 years old, my biggest fear was always, I was afraid to become, like, successful or to reach my dreams. Like, that was one of my biggest fears. Like, I do a lot of journaling. Mm-hmm. So looking back, I would always say my biggest fear is not going after my dreams, or not going for it. And now I would say, how am I overcoming that is just by doing it, just ripping the Band-Aid off and doing it. Mm-hmm. I have a fear with spiders. And so I'm like, I don't like spiders either. Like, I absolutely hate them. Like, if there was a spider the other day, and I had FaceTimed, I actually called my fiance, and I was like, you know, there's a spider, like, this is a huge spider, like, and he's like, okay, kill it. Like, why are you calling me? You have to kill the freaking spider. Like, why? I can't kill it. You called him to come and do it. Yeah. And I'm like, I can't kill it. And I, like, froze up. Like, I literally just froze up. I was like, I can't kill it. And so anyhow, I ended up, his best friend, he was with his best friend. And his best friend Jordan was like, well, spray it with something. And I'm like, okay, like, I'll just spray it with something, and hopefully I'll hope it dies. And so I sprayed it, and it, like, started running off, and it, like, ran away. And I was like, okay, I'm just going to leave it alone. Like, I didn't kill the spider. I was so terrified that, like, I feel like I kind of freeze up. Anyhow, I ended up killing the spider. So I'm proud of myself.
Oh, got rid of that darn little bug. Oh my God, the poor spider. Yeah. Yeah. No spiders in your house. Oh man.
No way.
Mm-mm.
No way.
So
I have a bunny, and I'm hoping I have a French lop-eared bunny.
Oh,
her name's Thumper.
Thumper. Oh.
Yeah.
How do you how do you like having a bunny? Are they easy to take care of?
They're honestly, before we got this bunny, because originally I wanted a puppy, and I was like, I really want a puppy. Like, you know, they're so cute. And, you know, I was looking at puppies, and everybody was like, no, like, you don't have too much time on your hands to, like, take care of a puppy. Like, you know, you're training 24/7, like, you can't do it, like, you shouldn't do it. And so I didn't get a puppy, and I'm like, what about a French lop-eared? And everybody was telling me, you should totally get a bunny. Like, bunnies are cool, like, they can take care of themselves. And honestly, I think that's wrong. That is absolutely wrong. I think that it is so hard to take care of a bunny.
Okay.
It might be just as hard as taking care of a puppy or a dog or whatever you would call it. Just because you have to make sure you have to feed her. I have to still clean her. She makes a mess. Like, you know, I absolutely enjoy it. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But I think if somebody were to decide, oh, I'm gonna get a bunny instead of getting a dog because they're easier to take care of, I think that's absolutely BS. I'm calling BS on that. So
I was looking at bunnies myself. That's why I was asking. I was like, can you house break them, like, and train them to go in, like, a litter box or something? Can you train them?
Okay, so Yeah, she's definitely potty trained. In the beginning, it was very hard to get her potty trained. So she will go to the bathroom in her litter box. However, she will still, like, she runs around. They love to, like, dig and stuff like that. I remember when we first got her, she was underneath the couches. She was, like, tearing, like, chewing on, like, the wood, like, on the corners and stuff.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I can't deal.
So it's very hard. It's definitely very hard to take care of French lobsters.
Okay. So. Well, you cured me.
But they're fun. Yeah. They are fun.
They're so cute. They're so cute. Yeah. I'll just come and visit yours.
Yeah, definitely. You have my number, so just call me whenever you want to come visit her. You would love that.
That's awesome. So how do you see yourself as a role model for young girls or women, new fighters coming up? Oh, I think I lost you. Now we're good.
Okay.
Yeah, I had to do something. I did something on my end to help out, but somehow we got like two of you on there. So we're back in action. We had a little technical difficulties. We're back in action.
All right.
Yeah, I was going to lead into my next question. Can you tell us a story of a time on your journey that you experienced failure, and what did you learn, and how did you kind of overcome it?
Yeah. I would say for my own personal self, I feel like my last Invicta fight, for an example, for me personally, I felt like I didn't go out there and get to perform the way that I felt like I should have, excuse me. And basically, me overcoming that and being able to bounce back and move forward, I would say that is definitely one.
Yeah, you got to kind of like get back in there and just get back to training and all that, right?
Right, and that's exactly what I've
done. Good. And you're ready now. You're ready
yes,
now.
Ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
So how do you see yourself as a role model for girls or young women coming up, maybe in the sport?
What do you mean?
Do you see yourself as a role model, as a professional mixed martial artist to young women? Maybe, I mean, sometimes you see people, like you see Chris Cyborg and people look up to her, she might be a role model as an athlete and as a female fighter living a certain lifestyle and everything. Do you see yourself as a role model to, maybe some of the girls that you're teaching at the gym, or some of the students you have, or just in life in general?
Gotcha.
Yep.
Gotcha. So 100%, I definitely see myself as a role model to not only to like the younger girls in the community, but also women who could be either my age or even older. Mm-hmm. I tried to just set like a really good example for just everybody around me, let alone. And again, that falls back on just me just being able to be the best version of myself. And if I can focus on that, I think everything else will kind of just fall into place. But as far as me being a role model for the younger girls, I definitely see myself, I can definitely see myself doing that and playing that as well. That's the main reason why I teach, why I enjoy being around other, females who like to empower other women. So mm-hmm. For sure.
Yeah, I noticed you're a yoga practitioner, aren't you? Do you practice yoga?
I don't teach yoga. I do go to Best Yoga located in Morgan Hill, And also Wendy has a studio in Gilroy as well. So yes, I do go to yoga as well.
Yeah. How do you think that helps with your martial arts training?
I think it plays a huge factor as far as just being able to, for me, I use it as a part of my visualization. I do a lot of visualizing, and I think for doing some yoga for me, it helps me with that. It helps me with also my stretching as well, making sure that I'm getting the stretching that I need to be getting in. Let's say if I can't do it on like a high intense practice or training session, I definitely try to use that. I actually might end up going to yoga tonight.
Yeah, right. I used to like it for recovery after a hard class or something like that, after a hard kickboxing class or something.
Yep, that's actually another good one too, that I like to use it for recovery as well. I feel like it can play a lot like into martial arts just in general. It depends how you use it. Like I know a couple of people who actually use it as part of like their training. They end up going to like yoga, I believe it's like yoga hot Pilates. And they use that as part of their training, and they say it's intense. There's some people who use it as, just straight up just yoga, going for it and just trying to challenge themselves to do every yoga position that they can do. My uncle calls it yoga sport. He'll tell me, are you going, did you do yoga sport today? Or, but yeah,
that's great. I'm a big yoga practitioner, so I get it. I've been doing it for years, and when nobody in martial arts was doing it, and I was always encouraging the men to utilize it for recovery back in the day. I was like, you guys, you got to do the complete opposite. And they needed to go and do more the gentle yoga, not because they were just like,
intense.
Yeah, beating the crap out of each other every class, or every training session or whatever.
That's so awesome. Yeah, I think it's becoming more of a thing too now, especially like I feel like a lot of even not only just MMA fighters, I feel like a lot of other athletes are now starting to join yoga too. Like they're starting to understand that.
Yeah, so, you need the flexibility and the mobility, and then too, it helps with calming the mind and getting into contemplation and visualization. It makes it a lot easier for you to get into those states for sure, and really focusing on, manifesting your goals.
Yep, I 100% agree with you.
Yeah. So, has there ever been a time where someone said no to you, or you felt inferior being a woman because you were a woman, and something holding you back from doing anything that you wanted to do? Right.
I wouldn't necessarily say I felt like something was holding me back. I would say going and showing up to practice and being around a bunch of men all day, you could tend to feel that way, just seeing that, me being like either the only female in the room, or, for an example, me showing up to practice and a guy going really light on me because I'm a girl, or, and then they realize, oh, okay, well, she's here to work. Well, she's here for the same reason that I'm here for. I would say that's like something as similar as I can get.
Okay. I understand that. I've had a lot of gamut between like feeling, belittled because it was a woman in class. And then the other extreme is like what you just said. And then too, sometimes this was always the funny thing is like, if you're like, say in jujitsu, for instance, you're a brown belt now, you have somebody come in who doesn't know, like maybe that you're brown belt because you're doing no gi, and then they're trying to give you advice, and they only quit pretty much because you're a girl.
Yeah,
I
That
just
has
think that's a
happened.
funny one.
Yeah, that is so funny. I was actually just talking to someone about this just recently. I was in Nogi, and there was this guy that was at practice, and he was like trying to like teach me how to do a move. And we were all training, but for some reason he was like, "Oh, I'll go with you." And I'm like, "Okay, cool. Like, you know, we'll get some work in, whatever." And he was like trying to teach me something that had nothing to do with what we were doing. And I'm like, I'm here to work, buddy. Like, let's work, you know? And he's like, "Oh, okay. Like, you know, maybe I can show you after or something." And I was like, "Yeah, whatever. Yeah, you can show me after, whatever." Like, you know, but there's been times, like, some guys will like try to either like, there has been times where like guys, or not even, guys will just try to be like, "Oh, let me show you this," or try to take the move apart and act like they know what they're doing, you know, in a sense. But yeah.
Yeah, it's funny. I get amused by it. So you have some really cool t-shirts or, you know, gear that you've posted on Facebook with this bull. It's your little bull. And it has like the feathers and stuff on that. Like, I mean, it looks really cool.
Yeah, it's actually my next walkout t-shirt. It has basically it's the bull skull, and it's really cool. It has the feathers, and it also has a dream catcher as well, which
That's
means
what it is. I couldn't think of what it was called. The dream catcher. That's right.
yeah, it was a dream catcher. And then it's on the back. It's really cool. My fiance actually designed the shirt, which I think is awesome. Yeah.
Yeah. So did you give him the idea, or he just was like, "This is you. I'm gonna put this."
Yeah, so honestly, I kind of just told him what I wanted my last fight, what I was looking for, and we kind of played with it. And then he like, basically what I tell him is like, okay, he'll be like, "Okay, what do you like?" And then, or give me an idea. And so basically I'll just send him an idea, and he'll just either take it and run with it and be like, "Do you like it?" Or he'll, you know, and if I say, "Oh yeah, this is the one," or if I say, "No, I don't really like this one," then he'll be like, "Okay, well, give me another idea." And, you know, so we just kind of bounce ideas off of each other, and then just take it or take it.
Oh, so this is a chance for you to kind of like, you know, tell people where to find maybe the t-shirt. And if you want to give any shout outs to any of your sponsors or your teammates, or it's your own like little time for an infomercial.
Well, if that, yeah. So unfortunately for the hoodies, actually we sold out. However, yeah, we sold out on hoodies, and we have a few at the gym. If anybody wants to purchase them, they can either follow, they could direct message me, and I will send them to the right person. That way they can order them. As far as t-shirts and hoodies, so hoodies we don't have, unfortunately, but t-shirts you can still order. And then huge thank you to you. I appreciate you for taking the time out of your day to, you know, set this up.
You're welcome.
And I want to say thank you to all of my sponsors. There are so many, and I'm going to try my best to remember everyone. I got Cafe 152 from Gilroy, California. They have been helping me out tremendously with this camp. And then I want to say thank you to Premier Spine and Sports, Dr. Brink. Thank you. I really appreciate it. And then Chris Shelton and Parissa Shelton, they have been like my therapist. Like I like love them to death, and I just want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart for everything that they have done for me, even not only for this camp, but everything that they do outside of my camp as well. Julie Burns, Mark, GFY, thank you guys very much. Matt, thank you. Controlled Chaos, And then I know I'm forgetting a lot of people. Oh my gosh, this is what this. I don't like to like go over, like I need to have a list or a piece of paper. Thank you to all of my teammates, family, friends, fans. You guys can continue to follow me on social media. I'm on Instagram a lot. You can follow me at Brianna the Bull. You can catch me on Twitter every now and then. I try to keep everybody updated on Twitter. Again, you can follow me at Twitter, Brianna the Bull, and then Facebook, it's just Brianna Van Buran. Okay?
Awesome.
And thank you.
You're very welcome. Any shout out to your opponent at Invicta 33?
No, I'll see her this week. I'm sure I'll see her at weigh-ins. If not, I'll probably run into her before if she's out there earlier. But we'll meet in the ring. I don't really like to talk much. I let my hands do all the talking. So we'll see.
I like that.
Okay.
My hands do all the talking. I like that, Brianna. Awesome. It was a pleasure having you on the show. Thank you so much for coming on, and I wish you a safe fight camp and good luck. We'll see. I'll be watching at Invicta 33. It's next Saturday on the 15th.
Awesome. Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you very much. Have a great night.
You too. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
All right. Wow. That was Brianna Van Buran, who will be facing Jamie Moyle on Saturday, the 15th at Invicta 33. So, if you like what you heard and are eager to hear more, then remember to subscribe and download on iTunes. And, oh yes, leave us an awesome review. It helps people find the show. And you can also listen while you're doing other things. You can find us at Automatic, Shout Engine, and on Spotify.